Yeah, you should always turn the amp down or off before you plug it in. And,
or at least has a volume off down on the guitar.
No, it doesn't make a difference.
Then crank it.
Yeah, that don't make any difference. It's about, hey, we're on TV now, by the way. It's the cord. It's the cable. So you should always turn your... Oh, yeah. Where were we? Oh, I know. We don't have the lights on, do we? That's hot. I ought to be ashamed of. I was late. Well, everybody, welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar. And they call me on the phone and they ask me, they say, hey man, what's your show about? And I say, well, it's about an hour. It's about guitars, guitar players, guitar playing, all things guitaristic. So here's the thing. If you want to call the show and ask me a question about how to play the guitar, the care and feeding of your guitar, what kind of guitar is right for you, dial us up there. If you want to talk about a related topic like the guitarron, the sitar, the cithara, the lute, the oud, the vihuela, citern, banjos, balalaikas, bazookies, bajos, sextos, mandolins, mandoras, mandolas, mandocellos. If you want to talk about tiples, cavaquinhos, ukuleles, banjolales. If you want to talk about trombones, trombomarinas, clarinets, clavinets, clavinovas, clavichords, pipe organs, piccolos, accordions, ocarinas. Anything you can make music with is fine with me. Crumb horns, chord holds, sack butts, harmoniums, harpsichords, and harmonicas. Actually, anything you make music with. Or if you want to talk about something else completely, like politics, world events, or your own personality problems, then that's fine, We're here for you, but this is a family program, so keep it clean, please. All right, so I was late. I'll admit, I was late coming in. I just got here like, 12 minutes ago, and maybe 13 by now, but we were going to do a show upstairs, and it didn't pan out for various reasons, and then I changed my mind about the show about 3-4 times, and I haven't admitted to my family yet, but I've fallen off the wagon personally. I don't drink or do drugs or anything like that, but allergy medication, an aspirin a day to keep the heart attack away, and I have to have that big cup of coffee to get started or I'm no good. But I mean, as far as like, heroin, cocaine, cannabis.
So tell us about your new guitar.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, okay. So I keep telling you stupid stories over again. This guitar here, I've had this for a while. This is a Mexican Stratocaster. It's actually quite nice. The ones they build in Mexico are really quite nice. Very different from the the ones they build in China. Although the ones in China are quite serviceable. The Mexican ones are nice wood and everything. So I bought this one some time ago. And my problem is I had this problem with my thumb I keep talking about. What I do is I put a strap button here, you see, and on this one, because this is a Mexican one, I have an American one too, my blue one, which I didn't want to fool around with because it's more valuable. So I decided to do this strap button thing, and now the guitar hangs. You see, instead of hanging on this little knob here, I put a button back here. You see, and that allows me to suspend the guitar at an angle which is much more favorable to the we're talking the ergonomics and the biomechanics of how to hold the guitar. So yeah, got to do a little focus there, but anyway, so all right. So now you see it hangs like this, and it doesn't bother my thumb and my form, because really, deep down I'm a classical guitarist who's gone astray years ago now. But my first love is the classical guitar, so everything I play, I sort of play like a classical guitarist would. And so anyway, I'm telling you this long, boring story, and I'm really sorry, but so I went to the guitar shop to get some new strings, because I wanted to put a fresh set of strings on this one to play it tonight on the show. So I came here to the TV station a couple hours ago and a few hours ago to check out, see if we were going to do the show upstairs at Uptown Bill's Coffee House, and we couldn't. So I just said, okay, I'm going to go home, but I'll pick up a set of strings, I'll restring the Strat with my new strap button, and I'll play that. And that was fine, but, there's an old buddy of mine, his name is Chester, actually, but he told me he has 3 ways to stay out of trouble. Don't go in the bar, don't go in the bar, and don't go in the bar. So I say I don't worry about going to the bar. I don't have a problem going to the bar. It's not my thing. Okay, my problem is guitars. I have a guitar Jones. I have a serious guitar addiction. I was reading an article about addiction, and they were talking about the usual drug addictions, but shopaholics. So I'm not like a regular shopaholic. Like I don't keep buying new pairs of shoes or something like that, or designer jeans or something. But I do have a guitar issue. So let me take this. Anyway, yeah, so I went to the guitar shop just to get some strings, which is pretty innocent when you think about it. And you should keep fresh strings on your guitar. It's better for the guitar in a lot of ways. And so I haven't told my family this. It's a shame and embarrassment, but I just walked in the door with it. I didn't get the case because that was like $25 extra for a gig bag, and I already have so many cases. So anyway, now a few minutes ago I was extolling the virtues of Mexican instruments. This is a Mexican Stratocaster, so it's actually not very expensive compared to that. I haven't had a chance to polish it up and wipe it off yet. But it has like the Gibson, like Les Paul type pickups on it. And this jack was messed up, and so the guy replaced it for me while I was there. So anyway, I'm now the proud owner of a used Telecaster. Seems like there's a big chunk of wood out of one of the edges where you can't see it, but it's like really black and really gnarly. So it makes me kind of happy, that thrill. I haven't gone through the remorse stage, but actually, a used Mexican Telecaster with the chunk taken out of it isn't all that expensive. There's this sort of buyer remorse when you spend $3,000 on a Taylor, but this was much cheaper than that.
I saw they auctioned off a bunch of Les Paul stuff last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the $5 million the auction brought in. Anyway, a couple of the guitars were above $100,000.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that's collector's value because the guitar itself. Well, one of them is one of the original electric guitars, so even without having formerly belonged to Les Paul, it's probably some sort of a collector's item. But
I would assume so. Yeah. It's well, if it belonged to Les Paul, and if it was one of his early ones, one of his prototypes or one of his inventions or something like that.
Well, one is one. The old one wasn't one. It was one somebody made before he got into them, I think.
I see.
A really early electric guitar.
Well, if it was Les Paul, that'd be really early because he was.
Yes, because he was one of the original innovators on solid body electric guitars.
Yeah. I guess Fender beat him to it, is what they say. But there's always this thing about the Fender and the Gibson. We've been through that over and over again on the show, and perhaps someday I'll have a real Fender Gibson face-off.
As you always say, some people drive Chevys and some people drive Fords.
That's right. People say I'd rather push a Chevy than drive a Ford, or vice versa. There's bumper sticker, but
A Chevy Leave It or a Fix It Repair Daily.
Chevy Leave It.
Yeah, or the other one's a Fix It Repair Daily.
Yeah. Found on road dead. Well, anyway, we should probably play something on this, huh?
I looked up that auction. The old guitar was an Epiphone Zephyr from the 40s.
Ah.
Anyway, it didn't go as high as some of the later ones that. That was. The Epiphone Zephyr went for $144,000. A 1951 Fender Nocaster went for $216,000.
A 1951 Fender Nocaster?
Yeah, a 1982 Gibson Les Paul went for $180,000.
Ah. What year did you say last one? Les Paul?
1982 Gibson Les Paul.
Really?
Went for $180,000.
I got one that's not much younger than that, but I guess. But I'm no Les Paul. I wonder if I could get $5 more for a guitar because it was on Tom's Guitar Show. Probably not. But
wouldn't hurt to advertise it.
yeah, well.
Broadcast on Tom's Guitar Show.
That's right. Well, we'll let my widow do that. When hang on, my phone's in my pocket. I'm radiating myself or something. Well, I don't know. There's a whole thing about having a guitar that belonged to somebody famous, and that's a completely different thing from, just wanting to play something. And then I was talking to a guy. I was talking to Guy Drollinger, who's probably fairly well known in the community. He was okay. So I was hanging around in the guitar shop trying to talk myself out of getting this black Telecaster here, and unsuccessfully, but. And Guy Drollinger was there, and so we were talking about guitars as us old people, and who he knew that were dead, because he's a little older than I am, but not much, and a lot of our friends are no longer with us, and anyway, but he was talking about these these vintage guitars that he had and so forth. And my thing is like this guitar here, for instance, is it plays pretty nice. I'm just starting to get warmed up to it. I'm actually kind of glad I got this thing because it's kind of what I've wanted for the last 10 or 15 years. And it was fairly cheap and just a little beat up and everything. But I can, if I drop this, I didn't. It's not a tragedy. I didn't commit a crime against humanity. If I I once I played a 1936, I think, Ignacio Fleta flamenco guitar once. Beautiful, very lightweight thing. A few dings and scratches, but it had a long history of flamenco guitar players from back in the day, And this thing was, of course, rather expensive. If I have acrylic fingernails, and I do rasgueos and stuff, and I kind of, I might beat on a guitar. I'm actually kind of gouged up my concert classical guitar because there's no tap plate. Like a flamenco guitar has a tap plate on the top. Mine does not. The wood's kind of gouged up here. It's not like Willie Nelson's with a hole in it, but it was kind of gouged up, you see. And that's bad enough. But if I really decide to really truck on a 1936 Ignacio Fleta flamenco, because the old man's been dead a long time, he doesn't make any more guitars, So it's like not exactly a museum piece, but I would feel pretty bad if I scraped it up with my acrylic fingernails, which So, anyway.
I remember seeing in the paper when the art department got flooded at the university.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of students had their instruments stored there. They had climate-controlled storage.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of those violins and cellos and things were seriously big money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is, it may be that they actually can build really wonderful violins and cellos now, but a lot of the ones that are favored are from the 18th century. So,
yeah, I don't. They were talking $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. So I doubt if they're real antiques, but
yeah, well, okay, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 is nothing for a cello. If you were like a third chair in a Chicago Symphony, your cello cost more than my house did. So, we're talking. Yeah. Guitars are relatively cheap. You basically you don't need to spend more than $10,000 on a guitar. The finest handmade guitar for a classical guitarist, I don't think you need to spend more than $2,000 for an electric guitar, except for, I would say, if it's a jazz guitar with a carved top, I've brought the jazz guitars on, mine are plywood, which is fine with me because they don't have so many feedback problems. It's the pickups, really. The body is a resonating chamber, to give sustain to the pickups. But on a classical guitar, the wood is very important. But like if you have a carved top like jazz guitar, that might be $10,000. But and I think a classical guitar, you could really get as good a classical guitar as you need for $10,000, in my opinion. I mean, you could spend more, but violins and cellos and things they're like, $100,000, $1 million for
Well,
an
5, 6, 7 is probably plenty to a student. Actually, it'd be plenty to me. And
Well, it's plenty to me.
Of course, I imagine there's a lot of students over there that have a lot more scratch than I do.
Well, but it's an investment, though. I mean, it's like if you're a violinist and you have a $5,000 violin, and that's sort of your minimum requirement of the quality for. If you want to be a serious violinist, that's your thing. I mean, if you were, if you dug ditches with a backhoe, you have more of that.
You want a good backhoe.
You want a good backhoe, and you have more than $5,000 sunk into your backhoe. Or if you're a trucker, you want to buy a good tractor.
Right.
So it's an investment, but guitars are relatively cheap, and I am on a waiting list to have a guitar built for me, and it's like it was supposed to be like 7.5 years, but it'd be more like 6, and then last time I checked, it'd be 9.5 years, and I'm at least 5 years into it, maybe more than that. I'm not in a hurry because I put $100 to get myself down to get on the list, and it's $7,400 for the rest.
Yeah.
But the guy's going to build me a classical guitar that I'm going to grow old on. Is my plan. One of my dreams. And if he built me the guitar that I wanted, however many years ago I got on the list, it would be very different because I'm starting to, because my thumb's been bothering me and stuff like that. So, but and I'm locked into that price because it's probably worth we might be charging more now.
Right.
So I'm locked into the price of $7,500 for a handmade instrument. But it'll be like the best classical guitar I could get anywhere in the world. Built to my specs, and. But I mean that's relatively cheap. That's what I'm saying. I mean that'd be like the best. I mean obviously I could spend more on a guitar, but the best guitar I could possibly get for classical guitar, $7,500, which is it's not that bad. I mean a lot less than a car. I mean less than a new car. You can't. It's hard to get a really good used car for that amount of money.
Yeah.
And,
I'm shocked every time I see what the prices of cars go for these days.
Yeah. You're shocked. I got a teenage son who's going to drive to Cedar Rapids every day pretty soon. Anyway, yeah. So I guess what I'm sure I'm rationalizing on TV that I bought another guitar, and Laura, I know you're not watching on the web streaming, but you don't have a TV, but she might see this. Phone's ringing. That's probably her now.
Your wife knows now.
Can I sleep in your basement, Bob? Hello, you're on Tom's Guitar Show.
Hi, Tom.
Hey.
It's been a while. Haven't called you for.
Yeah, that's right. You haven't.
Months, yeah.
You see my new used Telecaster here?
Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm a little concerned about your problem, though.
Yeah, I don't know if we need an intervention or not, but the nice thing though is, unlike like being a gambler, I could sell. I mean, it would take some therapy before I could do it. But I could sell.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I once asked you the difference between a Telecaster and a Stratocaster.
Oh.
And that's apparently a Telecaster.
Yeah, I have a Stratocaster right over here too. I was playing that just a minute ago. I know.
Yeah, I saw that.
Why don't I show everybody the difference between a Telecaster and a Stratocaster?
There you go.
Here we go. All right. These are both made in Mexico, which is the theme of today's show. They make it pretty good in Mexico. Okay, this one's a Stratocaster here, the natural wood color one. It has 3 pickups, right? And by the way, this is an abnormal Telecaster, so it's a little different. But it has 3 pickups and it has a different shape. If you see the difference, I mean, it's hard to see the black against the black. Pardon me while I unstrap this thing.
Yeah.
So.
And the pickups are different.
Yeah. Well, the pickups are different on these two anyway. This one's not a regular Telecaster. It's supposed to have single coils. This is actually set up more like a Les Paul, which is a Gibson, of course. But as you see, though, the body shapes are different, right? Now, the Telecaster is actually an older design, and then they made it a little bit more funky for the Stratocaster. So if I hold this one out here in the light, you can see it. But the Telecaster has two. The body shapes are different, and the Telecaster has two pickups. The Stratocaster has three. Telecasters usually have. This one doesn't have a metal plate down here, and I do have a G&L Telecaster, which is a regular Telecaster. There's a metal plate that this pickup is set into, and it's at an angle like the pickup is on the Stratocaster. Okay? The headstocks are different in that you can recognize them. Here I'll get down a little lower here. The Telecaster here has like a little narrower at the top, and the Stratocaster is a little bit. Here, let's get that down. Let's get that other camera.
What's the difference in the sound?
Oh, the sound difference is quite striking in my mind. Here we go. Okay. So if you look right here, this one. Here we go. This one sticks out less than this one does. And yeah, right. And then they just produce a very different sound. There are some subtleties to it, of course. And
does one sound more electric than the other? Does one sound more, kind of mellow?
It's more subtle than that.
In between.
It's more subtle than that, I think. It's really hard to describe for me. There's an out of phase sound that you get on the Stratocaster when you're in between the pickups, and the Tele is more. I don't know. It's just that the Strat seems to work better for rock and roll, and the Tele works better for country and for blues. There's a certain kind of Telecaster twang, and there's a kind of thing. I was actually talking to this guy about that today, about the Telecaster licks and stuff.
I can buy that. Have you ever? Do you know a blues guitarist named Buddy Guy?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I heard him on the radio. He was featured on NPR just today. And they said, oh, he's a real soft-spoken guy, but when he was on stage playing, the guy described it as a 12-foot man with a flamethrower in one hand and a machine gun in the other. It was real powerful.
Yeah.
And then they played some Buddy Guy, and it seemed that it was a very electric, twangy kind of blues. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think he plays a Telecaster mostly. I'm trying to remember what I've seen him. I think he's played a couple different guitars, but I think he's a Telecaster player.
It wasn't as smooth as mellow, or smooth or mellow, of course it could be string size.
Well, it's a lot of it. It could be like what kind of strings he's using, what kind of amp he's using, and a lot of it's just how you play it, your attack. And how you do things, and like I was talking to a guy about. Well, I had the guitar player talk with Guy Drollinger today in a guitar shop. See, there's my story. That's what I was doing. I was.
Well, you're dealing with your problem.
Yeah, well, I was falling off the wagon, and
right.
It would happen to people down at the bar and stuff like that. But as I say, it's not my issue, but it's probably similar in some ways.
Yeah.
But
I was kind of wondering if I know your friend Chester.
You might. I shouldn't have said the name, but
I won't mention the last name.
Yeah.
But because you already told the universe that he was a big,
Well, he just said that to stay out of trouble, just don't go in the bar, basically. But,
does he have kind of red hair and a ponytail, kind of skinny and Chester?
How many Chesters can there be who'll be witty and advise you to stay out of it?
I think Chester the molester. I don't know.
That's a common nickname, but he doesn't like to be called that. No, he's a philosopher, and he's a I think we all know who we're talking. Anyway, never mind. If you've been around town for a while, you probably know him. But
I think it's Chester.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you saw Bob Dylan get a big award from the president the other day.
I just saw a photograph of that, but
Yeah.
well,
And I thought that was pretty neat, but it brought back memories of a few years ago, right at the end of Bush, Kennedy Center Awards, and Townsend and Daltrey were sitting with President Bush in the presidential box, and I thought that was kind of weird. Yeah, a little.
A lot of people do. I mean, I seem to be rubbing elbows with people who probably didn't think Bush was bad at all during those years, and
that right?
kind of people would say, these bumper stickers or these pictures that, "Do you miss me yet?" about Bush. And then recently, Al Jazeera, I was talking about this in the show last week, I guess, but Al Jazeera did a report about some of the torture methods used. And the thing is, like, we're not supposed to torture people in this country. And we tortured people, often innocent people, because we had this bounty system. We would have, in Pakistan and Afghanistan and other places, you'd get basically a 2 years' income for a person like that if you turn somebody in as an Al-Qaeda person. So all you have to do is turn in somebody you didn't like for one reason or another, your rival or somebody, and get like 2 years' pay.
Historically, that's not unique.
No, but that sort of thing happens. But we didn't. I don't think we used to do stuff like that, and we're not supposed to do stuff like that. And then in the news media was like, oh, just waterboarding. Like waterboarding two people is all that they would discuss on news and say, well, it's just like a little water splashed in your face. And however you want to talk about waterboarding, which is of course a terrible torture, but there's a lot more than those two guys who were, supposed to be terrorist masterminds. There were people, ordinary people, who just happened to be born in the wrong country, who get washed up on the shore, and there we go. So, one thing that's going to happen in this show is somebody from upstairs is going to come in here, and because there's a concert going on in the coffee house, and this person is going to come in here and join me for the rest of the show at some point. What time is it anyway?
Oh, I better go.
It's 25 to 7.
Yeah.
Any minute now, we're going to have a guest on. So,
okay.
We'll call back next week or something.
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
See you.
Now, I was going to say, Jesse Ventura was a Navy UDT during Vietnam and was waterboarded, as they all did as part of the training. And he said, give me an hour on a waterboard and I can make Dick Cheney confess to the Kennedy murder.
Right. Well, the thing about a lot of these torture methods was it was simply they got it from the Chinese and the North Korean torture book on how to.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff was developed in Korea during the Korean War.
Right, by the North Koreans,
right.
but just to get false confessions out of people.
Yeah.
Not to try to get any real information, but to try to get people to sign.
Well, McCain said that when he was running for president. He said, anybody will confess to anything to stop the torture.
Right. So, and the people they had doing it anyway.
So you'll get information, but the information is worthless.
Right. So if you ask me if I missed Bush, I say no.
But after an hour on a waterboard,
I'd say I like it. Yeah. Oh man. Anyway, there's going to be somebody who's going to join me, and I don't know what to do with all my stuff. I guess we'll just sort of move it out of the way and I'll put. Well, when she comes in.
Is that our guest out there now?
I don't know. I don't know who she is. We were gonna do the show upstairs earlier, but it didn't happen. So now we're just doing this.
Did you hear that bass thumping while you were on the phone?
No.
Oh.
Huh. I guess I missed something, but.
Somebody with a guitar. There's Tom.
There's young Tom. Well, I gotta do a little housekeeping because I'm gonna have a guest on here any second now. I don't know how you guys want to set stuff up, but I'm gonna put this Stratocaster over here, try not to break it. And then I put my amp back here. This isn't very interesting television, is it? Put that over We've got some room here. A microphone for the guest talent. There's Bob doing the stage managing. Maybe I'll play Cry Me a River while things are happening here. Do you have an amp with you?
No, I didn't.
Ah, I only have the one amp.
Okay.
And I don't know what to. Have a seat.
Will it show up? Is there any way to mic it? I could pull a microphone on.
We have a microphone, and we could probably get another one in a minute. I only brought a one input amp though, and I'm.
Yeah.
But so we'll. You don't have an extra amp. Of course, you just have a PA, don't you, up there?
This is really interesting.
Yeah, you were in.
It feels like my face like disappears at the time.
I know we have a lighting issue. Well, I don't know.
No, it's cool.
I was kind of late because I was going to actually go up and do the show upstairs with you. But well, anyway, so who are you? Tell us all who you are, please.
My name is Michelle Lynn. I'm from Decorah, Iowa.
Really? Okay. Good for you. I've been to Decorah. I played at La Rana
Yeah.
a few times, 3 times maybe.
Lorana's a really good spot. I've never played there personally. There's a lot of other venues and little bars and places that I've played though. But Lorana's really good. I like to go out to eat there.
Oh, okay.
So,
It was I had a partner, Raimundo Rosales. We used to play together, and he worked up at the Luther College, and we played a lot of gigs together. We used to play together quite a bit before he moved up there, and then we sort of separated. But then we played up there at the student union. What it's called, the big room in the student union where they.
would it be Marty's?
Marty's, yeah.
Yeah.
Played there a bunch of times too. But anyway, okay. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do. I mean, because I.
Is it? Can you hear it?
Not well. We could plug.
If we put that mic down in front of the guitar,
Maybe we could.
Put it one here.
I guess
and
you could play by yourself, and I could plug you into this, and I could turn it over to the acoustic guitar sound, and that'd probably work. That'll preclude my playing with you, which I was hoping to, but here.
Yeah.
Hold that. I'm going to try to untangle my stool from it. Oh boy. Okay. All right. Here we go. Just trying to get me out of here.
now you can just play it around the stool.
Around the stool would probably be wiser.
I don't know what I've done here, but I've been moving around quite a bit, switching over guitars. All right.
There we go.
Okay, well, I might as well put this down. It's no good to me. Let me tune you on it and mess around with the.
So you said there was
There's an acoustic guitar setting on it. Hang on. This is just I turn it on first.
Yeah.
And then there's.
We can distort it too. That's distorted.
Yeah. We'll see what that sounds like first before I start fooling around with this. I think if I.
Lots of reverb.
Yeah. There's less reverb there. How's that?
I think that's all right. Sounds pretty good to me.
You can put this on your voice.
Yeah, that's right. Let's get that back.
Yeah. All right.
Back at the voice. Check.
Well,
check.
I'm just going to say
Anything coming through? Check.
If there's no PA,
Oh, so
this is going over to TV.
it's just that's what.
We're on live television.
This will be different because my guitar will be really loud.
That's right.
But there'll be no voice.
Welcome to
Which
my
is
world.
all right. All right. Well, this is a song called "Step Lightly." Thank you for having me on this show.
Sure. Yeah. Pleasure.
Last minute, I was playing up above here. I heard you playing the guitar as well while I was.
Was I being too loud?
No, it was great.
I was worried
just
about
playing
that.
really
I
softly.
suddenly realized that this is kind of loud. But I just got a new
No.
guitar. I was talking about my issue with guitar acquisition syndrome.
Oh, so you'd buy and trade guitars all the time?
Just buy.
Just buy?
Well, they let me pay them off slowly at the guitar shop, so I just got that black Telecaster. On my
I
way back from
understand.
the coffee house to check to see if we were going to do the show together like we were planning on, but never mind. I'm not going to tell you about my personal problem. You go ahead and sing your song. I'm just going to sit and listen.
This is a song called "Step Lightly." It appears all
of our probable scenarios are about to unfold as we gravitate to the ones we like. It helps create the ones we find. Renovating for better cage, never did take the cage away. There's far too much to speculate and every idea to decorate only hangs in the way. Stay waiting for patience. Nothing's in the way, it is finished. While debating the pros and cons, we've seen enough to know the favorite one. Letting go of what props us up, we discover no back and no front. We're in it all, and it's all in us, without an outline even. Step lightly while falling into place. Behind leaves the figure eight. You'll find me in close proximity. Separate ways to the same And the walk there, it's always longer than the walk back. Remember, this earth as a blender. There's a big picture, and it's in here somewhere. A shattered patterns coming here together. Faster and faster, one after another. Steps lightly while falling into place. Behind leaves the figure eight. You'll find me in close proximity. Separate ways to the same place.
There you go.
Thank you. Is it alright if I turn it down a little bit?
Oh, sure. The volume would be for this one.
This one's really, really loud, and then my voice is like, where's my voice?
Yeah, but your voice is going out through the wires, I see, into people's homes.
I'm learning.
You'll find out later on. Now, if I had thought about it, because I was like, I mean, we had a different plan, and then the plan changed, and then I fell off the wagon and bought another guitar. So what I would have done was I should have brought my acoustic guitar amp, you see, and plugged you into that, and then plugged your microphone into that, and then you could sing through that, and then we could just mic or do a direct out from that.
I think this is sounding all right. Do you have many other guests on your show? Guest musicians all the time?
Well, sometimes we do, but most of the time it's just acoustic, so we don't have an electrified guitar, and then we're just here because then once a month we do a TV special from upstairs, and we have even bands and stuff.
That's what Tom was saying, yeah.
Yeah, so we have that all worked out through his PA and everything like that. But see, the thing is, it always freaked me out was that if I were going to be singing in a bar or something, I had the mic there and I could hear boom myself coming through my amp or the PA. But here it's there's a mic and you don't really know what's going on. But there are people. I mean, I know there's at least one guy watching at home because he just called. You see, so
just called wondering what was going on.
And then I was talking to some guys at the guitar shop when I was falling off the wagon, and they said they watched the rerun on Friday night because it's on Friday nights at 11.
Cool.
It's also on the internet and live stream, and it goes up on the PATV blog and the Tom'sGuitarShow.com blog. So anyway, so if you want to hear it, you can either hang around town until Friday night at 11, or you can get a DVD, or you can watch it on online, or you can just move on with your life, which is what a lot of us do.
I'd like to watch the show online and try to track it down on a regular basis. I think it sounds pretty interesting. So when you say like Tom's Guitar Show, what are you talking about a lot?
Well, I mostly do guitars. I do banjos and mandolins and basses and things too. But and then we have people on, and people call in, and I talk to Bob here, and who has his laptop, so we can get, you know, we're talking about Les Paul's instrument collection being auctioned off and stuff like that. Yeah. And then we've been talking about my personal problem with guitar acquisition syndrome and so forth. But basically, I for the last 18 years or so, every week I come on and I play guitar and take phone calls and have people come on with me and play along with me, and you know, I do ukuleles sometimes and things. But it sounds kind of dull now that I'm explaining it to you. But
no, I think it sounds really cool. I think every town should have something.
Yeah, well,
like that. I would definitely watch it if it was in my town. I think it'd be really interesting.
Well, maybe we should export it. But the thing was, I started this show originally in 1990, and because you can tell I'm an older fellow, I've given PATV. I've given you the best years of my life. Anyway, but so MTV was still music television in those days. They were still doing music and music videos, and I was like a very young man in California when the MTV first started, and I had some producers looking at me because I played this gig on my 25th birthday, I guess, and MTV producers were in the audience. They said, "Get it together, we can put you on television." I thought, great, and then one thing led to another, and I got all skinny and I moved back to Iowa, but MTV started, you know, appearing on cable TV, and so it was like these music videos of people who weren't really playing. They were just pretending. They were like doing a little dance. They weren't even dancers. They're like models, and they weren't even pretty models. They're like skinny neck guy with a, you know, acting, you know, talking, and then the young women with short shorts hanging out, wrap themselves around like shiny cars from the 50s and things like that. I thought this has got nothing to do with music.
I think that isn't that what it is right now.
I thought it was like reality shows now. Anyway.
I wouldn't know.
I don't know. So I wanted to have a show about people actually playing guitar. You know, actually, because I'm, you know, I like the technical, and I mean, I like the art of it, but also like to see people's hands and watch them produce the sound. You got a nice little style there. I like your style. So that's why I wanted to do the show. And then, so that was in 1990 originally, and then I did 6 programs, and then I came out on 1994 on this live format, because this way it gets done every week, whether we're ready or not. So anyway, yeah. But next time you come on the show, if ever, we'll get you like a way we can plug your voice and your guitar into the same amp, and then you can, anyway.
No, this is really good.
Yeah. Well,
I've played for like 7 years now, so I've seen a lot of environments. I've had a lot of sounds, and it all works out.
Yeah,
That's what I've learned. If I've learned anything, it's that it always works out, and it's good.
Yeah,
it's
well,
fun.
I find I don't. I just want to do it. I play. I mean, that's how I make a living is playing guitar,
Awesome.
and teaching. But I years ago I used to with the guy from Decorah who moved to Decorah, but when he was living here, and I lost my job in the theater. That was right when I started this show. I started this show with something to do when I got back from California, working in theater, and but we would go table to table in Mexican restaurants because he was from Mexico, and we would go to the ones that were owned by Mexicans, and we would do the thing, you know. And we're Raimundo y Tomás, but we would actually go up to people's tables and bother them for money.
I think that sounds very challenging. Anytime I see musicians that are able to walk around and do that, it kind of reminds me, like you said, like Spanish style. Otherwise, like in Italy,
yeah,
you know, people with the guitar.
Right.
I think that takes some gusto.
Well, it was the other guy, Mundo, could do it, and then I was like horrified, but we were actually able to do it, and it'd be very noisy rooms, and Papa Juan's up in Cedar Rapids is the strongest margaritas in town apparently, and so it would be like. We'd do these old norteñas and things, but then we'd also do, you know, Margaritaville, and 10 times a night. But,
10 times.
And then we'd have, you know, money hanging out of our pockets. And but anyway, I'm sorry, I'm talking about myself. So you've been playing out for 7 years? You've been playing professionally, or?
It depends on what you call professionally. I guess I've played full time as a musician and given lessons like the way you described yourself. Mm-hmm. I've done that for about 2 years now, 3 years.
Okay.
But I've been playing definitely since right out of high school. I just started. playing any shows anywhere that I possibly could. So.
So you're based in Decorah, or you?
Yep.
And you, how
I
far
live
do you?
there and travel about a 5-hour range. Is
5-hour
about
range.
as far as I go. I don't go too far at this point. I'm thinking about doing some scheduling and things that would involve going out west with my partner, and we're thinking about it. We've got the inkling in our minds, and then it's just the matter of following through and being prepared to book those things 8 months out. And have it all
Only
set
8.
aside.
Huh?
8 to a year.
Yeah. You know, all those festivals and things too. That actually, it's been. It was 2005. I played a bunch of festivals. I found that interesting. But you didn't make any money or anything. It's just to get yourself out there and meet people, and then. But
Speaking of which, you'll be playing Trek Fest right away.
that's right. We're playing Trek Fest. See, sorry, I should remind you. That's my.
And we should remind our viewers where they can see you this weekend.
Yes, right. Okay. Well, of course. Thank you. It's about me again. I'm sorry. We'll get back to you in 1 second. But yes, I will be playing at the Tuscan Moon in beautiful downtown Kelowna Friday night. Saturday I will not. They're having a big festival that has something to do with shiny cars from the 50s, I think. And I will be playing a private function for a bunch of surgeons who graduated. I'll be at the football stadium. Not in the stadium, but up in the press box where they have catered events. But,
That sounds cool.
Oh yeah. Well, the surgeons are good to me. I play their parties, their graduation parties. So they pay me well. They treat me with great respect, and I won't wear jeans, and I'll be playing more of classical guitar. So, anyway. But yeah. But I'll be in Kelowna Friday night, and then Friday and Saturday next week, of course, and the Tuscan Moon in beautiful downtown Kelowna, right next to the bakery. So you can smell the cinnamon rolls, and you can see Amish people zipping through town in their buggies.
When is Trek Fest in Riverside?
Trek Fest is on the 30th, Saturday the 30th, and the Tom and the Tribbles, which was a mistake to call it that, but
I like it.
yeah, well, that was. Did you ever hear the Tribbles? Mm-mm. You're not a Trekkie then.
No.
The original Star Trek with Captain Kirk. See, Captain Kirk will be born in Riverside, Iowa, in 200 or 300 years or something like that, and then he. So the town of Riverside has managed to get that. They talked to Gene Roddenberry years ago. So every year they have Trek Fest, because someday Captain Kirk, the original captain of the Starship Enterprise, will be born in Riverside, which is just a little town south of here.
I'm gonna have to ask you about that more once we're
on
tape in here. That sounds
so I have this band, which is my adult students. Most of my students are all grown up and everything, and we have string bass, accordion, ukulele, banjo, mandolin. Actually, the mandolin player won't make it. We have a fiddle player who's a ringer, and she's going to fill in for that. And we're going to play a Trek Fest from 11:30 to or 11:15 to 1:15 or something on Saturday the 30th on stage. So it'll be a big deal for them. We get a free meal ticket and T-shirts out of it, but for them, the people who have other jobs,
Yeah.
it'll be a big deal for them. So, and if you can have an accordion, string bass, and a banjo in the band, I think we're talking about it. Anyway, but yeah. So,
Well, is our guest going to be playing in the Iowa City area anytime soon?
yeah, you gonna play around here again? Anytime?
Yeah, I'm playing tomorrow at the farmers market. So
Oh.
5 to 7 at the farmers market, and then the mill on Thursday night at around 8 o'clock. So 2 more
Middle of
in
Thursday.
Iowa City, and it's good to squeeze this in and be able to be like, hey.
Yeah, so people can know that they can come and hear you at the farmers
And
market
it's this week.
and the mill.
It's tomorrow and the next day.
Yeah, and well, the mill would be the one where you want them to show up because that would because farmers market they're going to be there anyway.
Yeah.
But
I really love farmers markets, and the mill is a place I've wanted to play, and I just haven't yet. So this is my first time playing there, and I'm glad to finally have worked it out.
The mill. Cool.
yeah, that's great. So you're going to be what time are you going to go on in the mill? You have probably they have like 3
8
acts.
o'clock
8 o'clock at the mill.
is what we've decided. Yeah, that's what.
8 o'clock
email.
Thursday at the mill. Okay. Well, so you coming through this area again? Probably.
Yeah, the beginning of August, I'm doing an Iowa City Party in the Park event.
Okay.
So they have those all around. It sounds like different locations where they have the music on weekday nights. So
Okay.
it'll be a Wednesday night, I believe. Or no, it's gonna be Thursday night. Thursday night, August 2nd, I think.
Okay.
So
Well, maybe you should let us know if you're going to come back on a Tuesday,
Yeah, if you're ever here on a Tuesday.
so we can arrange it to have you. Because it'll be fun to play along with you, but we only have one thing to plug in, so
One right now.
I don't know if you should play anything more, or if I should just like get ready to end the show, because
Better go out.
I could do a short version of a song, and if you want to,
do a short version of a song,
As
and
long as you want, we'll just
Hold
skip
up,
it when we're done.
if you have 45 seconds, then I'll play the Tom's Guitar Show theme. But otherwise, go for it.
yeah. Don't make any sudden moves, hypnotizing solitude. Crowd yourself alone in a room, forces pulling through with the past as a prologue, wrapped up in my monologue. I should have noticed you were gone. I drew a line, I drew it wrong to forget what side I was on. Whoa, whoa, and now of all the things to think out loud, convert the spirits and market your weakness. Every step I tried to skip would harm me as I trip, and I'd object, I'd reject, disconnect to reconnect like archers